Hi, I'm Sarita Roche, and this is the 30-day Let's Get Creative Challenge, where every day I show up in my studio, I turn on my camera, and I do something creative. This has been a great disciplinary challenge for me to participate in, to just get me in here, show up, and get the creative juices flowing. So I generally don't have a plan from day to day, but today I'm going to paint a painting. All right, so let's get painting. I have a 20 by 24 canvas. I've used these giant push pins to elevate it above my workspace. I'm using puppy training pads, which I got at one of the big box stores. I will be working on a dry canvas, so I won't be putting a base layer down. That means I need to make sure I have more than enough paint, because some of my paint will stick and get absorbed into the dry canvas. Today I am using acrylic tube paints from a variety of companies, and I'll show you how I picked my colors. But before I do that, I will show you what I mix my colors with. All of my colors are mixed with the golden color pouring medium in gloss. I just opened this gallon. It's my last gallon, so hopefully I can make it last, make some beautiful things with it. What I like about this pouring medium is that it does have a high gloss finish, and it's ultra smooth to the touch. It almost doesn't feel like paint anymore. I will show you a painting from a couple of days ago that I did with the pouring medium. I think this was from day number 3, and just want to show you with the light. You can see it's glossy. In my opinion, this does not need a top coat. If you're someone who loves to put, a top coat, go ahead, but acrylic paint is essentially a type of plastic. So especially with this kind of pouring medium, it just becomes one continuous, almost like plastic sheet on the canvas, that you can't even feel the texture of the canvas anymore. So I've really been into these pearlized colors and metallics, and I will continue with that today. So I've been really drawn to this kind of blue color. Oh, this is how I store my paints, by the way. I just put one cup on top of another, and I do it that way because I can keep the stick in there and use my stick. So anyway, I've been really drawn to this kind of deep royal blue, indigo, verging on indigo. This one's more of a royal blue color. So it's not straight from the tube. It's something that I mixed myself. There's phthalo blue, there's metallic purple, there's iridescent graphite, all in here. But this was my starting point. So my idea for today is that I'm going to be playing with the values of the color. So I mixed this color with metallic white, and I got this lighter value. Then I mixed it with metallic black, and I got this value. Oh, and I should mention I work with my 2-year-old, so if you hear a child, she's my little one, and we work and play together. So it is what it is. So then I put a little bit more black, and I got this color. This pouring medium does lend itself to a lot of bubbles, just from its texture. So when I am thoughtful, I mix my colors ahead of time, and I let them sit overnight like this. And for me, this works. They don't dry out or anything. But because I'm doing this challenge where I do something every day, I don't really have the forethought to do that right now. So I will be sure to check for bubbles and use my torch as I'm working. So, okay, so I have this color and 4 values of it. So then I picked one other color. Whenever I am going to pick a color for some reason, just in life, whether it's bedding or it's a bathroom or paint, I am really drawn to this color right here. This one is sea green. I also really love Viridian. I could put it in every painting if I don't watch myself. So I thought, well, I love this color. This will be my other inspiration color, and I'll do the same thing. So I mixed it with metallic white, and I got this color, mixed it with metallic black, and I got this kind of gray green. And then I mixed a little bit more metallic black, and I got this very grayish color. And then the last thing that I'm sorry, there's two more things. I'm also going to be using this product from Deco Art. It's a pearl white metallic. I love how it bleeds into the paints. I'll show you from the painting I was showing you from the other day. This has some of that in it. You can see it's a very soft, hazy kind of white. I really love the way that looks with the metallic. This is the last ingredient that I wanted to show you. This is my little secret ingredient for this project. It's a shimmer, and it's sold as a top coat, but I just mix it straight with my pouring medium, and I put it in my pour cup with the rest of my colors, or I drizzle it over the top. So I'll do a combination of that, and we'll get some of that little shimmery color shift in the dried painting. Okay, so let's get pouring. All right. Right in the center. And I'm just going to be slowly turning my cup around. Sorry if I'm blocking the camera a little bit. Let's get this all around. Okay. All right, like that. This is interesting. Very cloudy. Now I wanted to use the remainder of this and just add a few little stripes in here. So I'm just gonna go right through it like that. Maybe even a little bit more. And a squiggle. A squiggle. So we'll see how that shows up. You won't see it right now. It'll only really show when it dries. So let me stretch this. Oh wait, before I stretch it, let me torch. So I got what I wanted, which was a lighter center, and then it gets progressively darker. Let me torch. I really wish that I had extra hands so that, or an extra camera so that you could see the bubbles as they pop, because I know that you don't see a whole lot. You just see me waving around the torch. But as I'm torching, I'm seeing lots and lots of micro bubbles pop. And some of the evidence of that is a lot of little bubbles that show up. So I'm going to bring you down just to see the little bubbles that are forming. So first of all, you see there's a couple of bubbles right there in the center, and I am going to see if I can go ahead and pop those right on camera without burning myself. Or there, do you see them pop? Yeah. So you can see all of these little cells that have popped up, little micro dots of color. Those were all of the bubbles that I was just popping. And one of the reasons I like to do it right away is because then that's going to stretch out into bigger structures. Like for example, if this guy right here does not go over the edge, he's going to be a pretty large circle. And this little structure in the center here is going to get really stretched out, and I'm curious to see what it's going to become. So let me get it stretched. So one of the things I'll point out is that my paint is not moving much, and there's quite a volume of paint. I mean, it was an entire solo cup full of paint. If my canvas was not very level, you would immediately start to see it drift. I do see a tiny drift this way, but not too much. It seems like it's pretty good. And that's really important because as it's drying, if it's not level, a couple of things will happen. First of all, your paint will end up on the pad instead of on the canvas, and that will seriously change your composition. If you have some circular structures, cells, or what have you, then as the paint is dripping, they'll get distorted. They won't be circular anymore. And also, if the paint is slowly moving as the top is drying, the under layer is not, and if it moves, it could crack. So, which I prefer to avoid. I prefer to do things intentionally. Cracks can be lovely in certain instances, but I don't want to be surprised by some cracks. So I am going to start to put one more layer of paint around this. I had extra of my darkest value, and I was pretty sure that I was going to have it, so I just kept it to the side. And this is going to just help stretch out my paint by giving me more volume to get absorbed by the canvas. So I'm going to just kind of put that on there. I have more of the darkest value of that sea green as well. So I'm going to put that. And we will watch, and most likely you will see it disappear. It'll stick to the canvas, and the top flowing paint will roll right over it. So let me just put a little bit of that. I do have a tiny bit more of this blue. So here, I'm going to go over here. A lot of paint does end up over the side. And I mean, I need a lot of paint to go over the side too to get absorbed into the edges. But it's not exactly wasted. Well, you know, the paint that you sacrifice over the edge is helping to pool the composition to stretch it out. Like, let's say, for example, I had just poured out this cup and I'm just in love with what I see. So the problem is there's quite a volume of paint right now, and it's very possible if I tried to just let this dry as is that it would crack, that it would not, it just won't dry well. So that's why we stretch out the paint. If you really, really love exactly what you see, like let's say you see this, you want it to look exactly like that, only a little bit bigger, then I would suggest spinning your canvas. This is kind of a big canvas, and my Lazy Susan would have a little bit of trouble with this one. But if you spin it, then it's just gonna, you know, spread out like that, and you would maintain this. This is gonna change a lot right now when I stretch, and I actually have fun with it. I actually enjoy seeing how it changes and evolves. It's part of the process, and it's part of what I really love about this this sort of art form. The evolution, the interaction. You know, it's part planning and part surprise, and I love that. On my vision board, one of the things that I have is that I would like to be surprised with happy surprises. I would love to open myself up enough that my life is not so planned and so predictable that I don't leave room for happy surprises. So that's something that is important to me. So I'm moving this around and I am curious what is going to stay. Kind of getting a little bit of a galaxy vibe in the center. And remember, all of those white stripes are not really white. Those are all going to be clear with a, color shift sparkle. So that'll be really interesting to see when it dries. One of the things I like is when you're moving the paint around, it'll get bunched up. Like right now, it's going to get very bunched up right here. And then when I pull back, you're going to see some of those colors separate again. And sometimes colors pop up that I forgot I even had them in there because they didn't dominate. I've lost almost all of the extra paint I added, as you can see. I don't want to completely lose the dark edges, but this lighter center with the sea green has really taken over. It's really pretty, so I'm not upset about that, but I was hoping to see some of the darker parts. So I'm trying to coax it in a way that I don't, the weight of the paint right here is really it's dominating. So I'm trying to spread it out so that maybe some of those darker parts will reemerge. So let me go this way a little bit, this way. If you do get to a position where, you would hate to see it change at all, you can always stop and then just add a color, add some negative space, maybe some black or some white. Can be really lovely. Let's see. Gonna make it over here. I'm following the weight of the paint. So I have like almost a corner shaped heaviness. All right, where's the weight now? I'm bringing that weight back to the center so that I can send it over to this corner. This is super different than I was planning. It's gonna be way lighter, still really pretty, and kind of, as I'm looking at it, it just reminds me of like a underwater nymph, like enchantment, water enchantment. I also see a couple things that I might need to fish out with my tweezers. Okay, let me go over this edge, over that edge, bring it back, bring it back. I think my mother-in-law is gonna love this. She loves when there's a misty kind of pastel look to my paintings. Much different than I expected, but like I told you, I love the sea green. I had an entire living room done like monochromatic in sea green once, so I'm not angry that it took over. I'm just a little surprised. It's really about the positioning of the paint in the cup, where that color was and how much I added. I could use the exact same colors in a different order and mimic the same, movements of the canvas and just really get something completely different. All right, so I'm going to touch up the edges and go wash my hands, and then we'll go in closer. All right, I'm going to torch, but I'm kind of surprised I don't see any bubbles. It's really smooth. I did pick something out that looked like a little chunk of unmixed paint. But, oh, well, actually, as I'm saying this, bubbles that were not visible are emerging. So I'm glad I'm torching. Little micro bubbles just popped right up. What I'm really liking the most, which is hard to show on the camera, is the pearl white. So this big part right here, which you see as white, is pearly. It's very, very pearly. And I got these really interesting cells down here. They're like ghost cells. There's kind of a webbing, a lattice. And I just love the way the colors merge together. And you know, it's funny, I put all those colors in the cup, and because I didn't have a base coat, you're not seeing any of the darker values. You're really just seeing that little bit that was right in the center, which, I mean, I'm not surprised. I've said that before in my videos, that with a straight pour, what happens right in the center is often the primary part of your composition. But I expected to see a little bit more of those darker colors. What's happening, Solange? Oh, looks like my daughter needs help, so I'm gonna go and help her. Well, it's the next day. The painting is dry, and I thought I'd show you a few different angles. I was really trying to get a good picture to show that sparkle finish from the color shift product that I showed you from Deco Art. It's really cute. You could see all of these veins of glitter, very, very subtle, just in the right light. And like I mentioned, it dried clear with just these little color shift sparkles. It's really pretty. So even though this is a lot different than what I was planning, I'm pleased. I think it's pretty. I think it has movement. It has vibrancy. It evokes emotion, and that's really what art is all about. So this is Sarita LaRoche signing off. If you'd like to find me, you can find me at saritalaroche.com. Keep making a beautiful mess.